Hello and welcome back to Tinker Tech. Today we're going to be looking at how the Raspberry Pi 4 games. So the first thing that I'm going to be showing you today is we are first going to be looking at the Raspberry Pi 4. Here is the Raspberry Pi 4. The one that I'm using to film on is actually the Raspberry Pi 4B, Model B like it says right about here, with 8 gigabytes of RAM. So the first thing that I want to talk about is port selection. So right around here are your ports, including over here. So these are all your ports. Right here you have USB 2.0. So there's your, oh god, that's a terrible O, but whatever, USB 2.0. And over here you have USB 3.0. And then over here you have your Ethernet. So this is Ethernet. And then over here is your headphone jack. Here are your two micro HDMI ports. And then here is your USB-C port. So a pretty average amount of ports. Right here is actually your CPU. So that's your CPU. Excuse the writing. It's really hard to write on a mouse. So if you've ever tried. One thing about the Raspberry Pi, though, is it is known to heat up. So if I was getting Raspberry Pi, I would use a case. Right here have the Cana kit case. I personally think it's really good. It comes with a fan and 3 different heat sinks, one for the CPU and one for the SD RAM right about here. And then one last hang seat for the USB 3.0 controller, which is right there. So that's all that I have to say about the Raspberry Pi 4. Like I said, we're going to be trying gaming on this. From what I've tried so far, it is actually a terrible experience, but we're going to have to figure that out for ourselves today. So we're going to hop into some diep.io. It's kind of a classic game. You might have played it before, but it's very low graphic demanding, but high entertainment. So I'm going to try reloading it and see if it'll pop up now. And we're getting a better sign here. So it's going to load up, and we're going to try a few games of diep.io. So the Raspberry Pi 4 here, so far it's been more of a kind of web browsing PC than a desktop PC. If you're using Raspbian, I'm not sure about other softwares. I personally am using Raspbian, so I think it's much more web browsing faced on Raspbian. So as you can see, it loaded up, and we are going to try entering a game. You can see this is a Tale of Shrek, which is pretty cool. So we're going to hop in. So first getting in, you can kind of see this isn't the greatest experience. I'm probably hitting about 20 frames a second, which isn't actually great if you know anything about FPS. But so you can see as I'm getting hit by this guy, I mean, it's really hard to get away just because I'm not able to move anywhere. But yeah, it's kind of a problem. I personally would say that for low graphic demand, yeah, so our frames per second is probably 15, which is not good. So what I was saying is, if you just want some easy, fun gaming, to get you around the day, this might be the computer for you. Personally, for like heavy gaming, I would not suggest it because just due to the fact that I was killed. Just due to the fact that it's small, it's not powerful. Don't fool yourself with the 8 gigabytes of RAM. Like, sure, yeah, you can get a MacBook Air today with 8 gigabytes of RAM, and you can get a Raspberry Pi 4, but which one do you think is going to be better? The MacBook Air does have the dedicated graphics. Or maybe 16 gigabytes, but it used to be 8 gigabytes, maybe like 2016. But the MacBook Air would have dedicated graphics, while this just has some random Chinese graphics card that's smaller than like a penny. So it's just kind of what works for you.